Hello, and welcome to the I'm So Tired podcast, episode 3. This is the podcast where we are so incredibly tired and try to fight our depression by talking about random pop culture bullshit on the internet for your and our own entertainment. Joining me, I'm Hugo, and joining me this week, as usual, is my good friend Islam. How are you doing, man?
I'm so tired, man. I'm so fucking tired. I can't take it anymore. I'm so tired.
We're just done. Just done.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
episode 3 and
What?
I'm so tired.
Oh god, yeah. This is already so much work.
Oh god, I choke on my
What have you
coffee.
been up to? Great. That's a good start. That's a good start. What have you been up to this week? Because we haven't
This week.
spoken in a while,
No,
face
no.
to face at least.
Yeah. This week I've been playing I actually started playing Disco Elysium. And without
Ha!
spoiling too much, today my character just had a heart attack and died, and the game just threw me out to the main menu. So that was, I guess, I beat the game, but
What?
by a
That's
mistake.
the
Like that's
that was
one
the
of
end of
the
your playthrough?
that was the end of my playthrough. He got a heart attack because I forgot to take medicine, I
Wow.
think, or something. I'm not sure what happened. It was just like, yeah, he died, and
Poor
then it's like a newspaper article where people say, yeah, we all knew he was an alcoholic. I was like, I didn't even drink alcohol in this playthrough. What happened? Like, I'm not sure what happened, but I'm gonna go back to a previous save file and continue and see if I can continue even.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm having
Yeah,
lots of
that game sounds insane.
It is, and it has like lots of like little features I haven't seen in other. Like the way time moves in the game is actually very fascinating, because it seems like
Mm.
whenever you use, like whenever you have a conversation, for example, right? The game
Mm.
chooses to have the conversation in like in real time, so that means like every conversation is like five
Oh,
minutes so it adds to the clock, like, oh, now 5 minutes have passed. And it seems like things change depending on the time, who's out, who's not, and whatnot. So there's like one mission where like you have to come back at 6 o'clock to meet with the dock workers, for example. And yeah, it's
mhm.
fun, and I'm not too deep into it. Like I want to play some more. I haven't played enough, but what I've played, very good, very weird, is what I would say so far.
It's apparently, from what I've heard, it's not that long compared to other RPGs of this style because it has so many branching paths that you can kind of replay it a bunch of times and have a completely different experience.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that's what I understood as well. Like it's about 20 hours, which is short
Mhm.
for an RPG.
Sure,
Uh,
for an RPG, yeah.
yeah, short for an RPG, and it's like one of the best reviewed games in a while. Like
Oh yeah,
it's getting tense.
especially this new version.
Yeah, the Final Cut version, especially. Yeah. But yeah, I'm having like tons of fun playing it. I'm playing it nice and slow. The other thing that I've been playing on the side of it though is, okay. So as some of you might know, I had my like I had an April Fool's stream, and
Yeah.
and during this April Fool's stream, I decided to play Fortnite. And lo and behold, I kind of like the game. I just realized, like, while playing, it's like, oh, this is actually kind of fun. So I've been playing
so you
Fortnite
were
today.
just
So
so you're
yeah,
just being a snob before.
yeah. I was like, you could tell, like, I was playing my gamer character on stream. I was like saying shit like,
Yeah.
"Oh, come on, pro gamers, we gotta do this and that." Like, it's not who I am. Like, it's always not who I am. But today I was like, maybe I should play some Fortnite. So I just put it on and played Fortnite.
Yeah, like Fortnite is, I think it gets a bad reputation because of kind of the gigantic cultural thing that it became. But like at its core, it's a fun game,
Yeah, and it's core, it's a
fun
fun
video.
game. So I made you download it
Yeah,
on PS5 and we can play thanks to the power of crossplay. So
yeah, yeah.
am I gonna spend money
Not
on it?
thanks to the power
Probably
of the
not.
internet. So hopefully, it'll be able to download and we can play later. If you're watching live, stick around. So, yeah, I this week I also played a bunch of games. I finished the game that we're going to be talking about later, which is Bowser's Fury. The kind of we'll talk about it. It's DLC for 3D World, but not really. It's kind of its own game. And I also beat Devil May Cry 5,
Oh,
which I had a lot of fun with. Yeah. And I think maybe we could do an episode on it next week if we want, because I know you've played it too and
yeah,
you love that
and I
game.
would
So
gladly replay it because it's Devil May Cry. I really, really like Devil May Cry 5, especially. So yeah, I don't
Yeah,
have a ton of history. I joined the Devil May Cry franchise at the third game. I haven't played the first or the second one. I've heard the second one is garbage, and the first one is pretty
yeah.
good, but it hasn't aged well. So I played those
It,
that you have to play. It seems.
mhm. Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about it. Okay, so what are we talking about this week? We are, as usual, we're going to do our little review of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the episode that just came out yesterday, right? I always get it wrong, but I think it was yesterday
It
because I'm
was
so
yesterday,
tired.
yeah.
But
Right? Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
we'll do that, and then we'll jump into our main topic for the week, which is our eulogy of our deceased king, who recently died. Of course, we're talking about Super Mario, or Mario, if you want to be Italian about it. Um, yeah, we'll just go through kind of our history with the mainline 2D and 3D Mario games, and we'll kind of go a bit deeper with our review of 3D World and Bowser's Fury specifically, the new game that just came out. Oh shit! I just kicked my desk.
Fuck.
That was something. But before we get into that, we'll have our second, I guess, the second part of our regular segment. Although last week it was Inshallah, Inshallah 1.2, which was the patch for Cyberpunk, but it actually came out
Yeah,
to our surprise.
what a
We thought,
surprise.
oh yeah, that's getting delayed again for sure, but actually it did come out. So I guess this is episode 1 of the Night City report, which would be my weekly adventures into Night City. Obviously, Cyberpunk is a pretty big game, so I don't know how long it'll take me to actually finish it. Um, so every week I'll just kind of tell you what I've been up to in the game, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. That's the
Cool.
plan. Also, I
Awesome.
just want to say to the folks out there that I know some people are like, "Oh yeah, Cyberpunk wasn't that good," or "Cyberpunk wasn't this," or "Cyberpunk wasn't that," and all of those like critiques I've heard are mostly, for the most part, valid. That being said,
Hmm.
you just need to know that Hugo and I, we are suckers for this aesthetic. Like we love the
Oh
cyberpunk.
yes.
We're the
Yeah.
wow, cool neon type of person. So
Yeah.
just have that in the back of your head while you're hearing us talk about this. So
Yeah. And I've waited to play the game because I knew how many issues it had, but I've had the game for a while because I actually bought a physical version on PlayStation 4 then, and of course, I'm playing on PS5 now, luckily, because it runs a bit better. But yeah, so the 1.2 patch actually came out. It was chunky because it was, I think, 44 gigabytes or something like that. The list, the patch notes were, I don't know, 10 pages of
yeah.
stuff. It was so long and in depth. But essentially, the game, on at least on PS5, I don't have experience with the other platforms, and I haven't seen it run on a PC, which is where you've played. Um, but on PS5 right now, it seems like it's running pretty well. I've played only something like 2.5, 3 hours, so I'm not very deep into the game or anything. But I haven't experienced any major bugs. Like I had one lady that was like sort of flying a little bit. She was standing on something, but there was nothing there, so she looked like she was just flying, just standing still like that. Um, but nothing that I haven't seen in like most other open world video games. So nothing particularly bad. The driving felt fine. It wasn't good driving, good video game driving. And I know that was an issue with the game, but it was one of the things that they've apparently improved a little bit with this patch. It doesn't feel fantastic, but it's not terrible. It feels all right on a controller. I didn't notice it after a bit.
Yeah, the
Go
thing
ahead.
that they changed with the driving, I know, is that there's a new sensitivity, like slider, that you can go in and change how sensitive the steering is. Did you, however, notice that
Oh.
one of the most requested things about the driving, actually, that they didn't
Mm.
fix is the minimap? Because I don't know how many left or right turns you've missed because the minimap doesn't zoom out when you're going at faster speeds.
Mm.
So a
I
lot of
I
times you're
haven't
like,
noticed
you're gonna notice it because a lot of time you're just driving and going like, oh yeah, I'm on my way to this borough in the Night City, and then suddenly it's like, oh fuck, I missed a right turn, and you like have to turn really quickly,
yet.
and it's so dumb. Like
No, yeah,
that's
I didn't.
yeah,
again, I've only played the intro mission, and I've met Dexter Deshawn, which is very, very early in the game. So
Yeah.
I've only driven a bit. I just drove around a little bit without going anywhere specifically, just to feel how the controls were, and they felt fine. In terms of frame rate, the game is pretty rock solid at 60 right now on PS5. I haven't noticed any major dips or anything, and like the gameplay feels pretty good. I don't know if the responsiveness of like the guns and stuff like that was an issue before, but it feels quite nice actually right now. The melee combat isn't great, but I think that's just first person RPGs
Yeah, the melee
oftentimes.
combat in general is like yeah, it could be
It's
better, but
fine.
I had fun playing with my Corpo samurai character when I was playing on
Yeah.
PC with my sword and whatever. I used a lot of that until I changed to a silenced pistol and never looked back.
Yeah,
um
I think that's what I'm gonna do as well. By the way.
While we're on the topic of like how the game is running, because you said you were gonna like play the game, I was like, okay, and since patch 1.2 actually happened, I was like, okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
go and re-download the game myself and play a bit on PC. And I'm not sure, I don't know if I'm just imagining things, but it kind of
Mm.
feels like it's running worse on my PC than it did before. And I can't tell you why. Like it just feels just a bit more sluggish. And for me, like
Mm.
that's so for those who don't know, just like specs wise, I'm running an RTX 3060 Ti, and before the patch, I would get like with ray tracing on, I would get like almost a constant six. I just realized while talking, I think I know what the difference is. There's been one
Right.
major difference in my setup since I last played Cyberpunk. I got a new monitor. I'm playing the game at 2K resolution. So
Oh,
that's why I have a bit of hit
there you
to
go.
performance. Ah, never mind then. But
See,
I
you just
do
got to
know.
talk through it.
Yeah,
You
you
just got
just
to
need
talk
to
through
talk through it. But I do know, however, that the 3080 users have been complaining on Reddit specifically, saying
it.
that, yeah, they've got way worse performance, where at some points the game dips below 30 even. And that's
Mm.
just insane to me that would happen. Like that just sounds wrong. But yeah,
I don't know. Maybe to implement fixes on console, they did something to the game that kind of broke it in another sense and made it a
could be,
little worse on PC. I don't know.
could
But
be.
so performance wise, I feel pretty happy. The game it doesn't look incredible, especially because like this week I was playing Devil May Cry, and the RE engine is one of the best engine that
Yeah,
they're using right now. It looks absolutely insane, and on PS4 on PS5 I could play at 4K 60. So there was a bit of a noticeable difference. It just because it looks a little blurry compared to that engine, but I think it's something that I would completely get used to.
but also you have to
So not a big
remember
deal.
that what's it called? Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk?
You're still running the PS4 version on PS5. So that's
Exactly.
something you also have to
Exactly.
know. You are
Yeah.
technically playing it on a like
Yeah.
a beefed up PS4 version.
Yeah. The
So
only
yeah,
difference I think is that it gets some upscaling, and
so
the frame
the
rate
frame rate, yeah.
is 60.
Yeah, because I think the
Yeah.
frame rate is actually like locked at 60. So
It is. On PS5 it is, yeah.
yeah, but in theory, no, locked as in like you can go above 60. Like even in theory, if the system could pull it above 50, 60, which it
I don't know, yeah.
could, yeah, it could
It
on
is
those
locked.
like settings, it's locked. But my point is more towards hypothetically, if we had a super powerful PS4, it should be able to run at 60 as well, because that's how the game is programmed,
Mhm.
I
Yes,
believe.
exactly.
So yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm glad
Yeah,
you're.
that's what it is.
But I'm glad that like
But
technically it's running well for you now, because
I look, if I didn't know that this game was problematic in terms of how it ran before, I would just be playing a game, and it would feel completely normal. Like I didn't encounter anything that made me think, oh, this is different from any other open world game that I've played so far, at least. I will encounter issues because I know there are issues, but so far it's looking good, running well. In terms of story, I picked the Corpo origin because I don't know why. It just seemed like the more interesting story to go from a big corpo agent to kind of a street person and a mercenary or whatever you are. And I'm not sure where the story is going, but I'm sure there will be some kind of fighting the corporations type thing somewhere in there. I think the corpo intro narratively is pretty cool. It does move a bit fast. Like at some point, you start your first mission as a corpo, and then somebody shows up and takes all your your upgrades and your money, and it just kind of throws you in the street, and you get this. I thought it was really funny because you get after the brief intro, you get kind of like a trailer. It feels like a trailer that they're playing, but it's actually just kind of a montage scene because there's like a time jump of I think a year later or something like that, and then you're in the streets doing your first missions. But yeah, I don't know. Story wise, I haven't really gotten into it too much, so I don't really have much to say yet.
If you want a good laugh, you should look up that specific intro, but running on a base PS4, because it's running in engine in real time, and it's actually impressive that they can do that on the PS4 and PS4 Pro, because they're constantly like loading new elements in while the cutscene is going on in real time. So it's but because especially because you see your character in a lot of times in that intro in the mirrors. A weird thing they do, however, like in the old base PS4 version, is the fact that it cannot load things in fast enough. So someone's like, "Oh, here's your car," and there's no car there. Because they show how you get your car. Now the thing about the intro, like it's funny because they don't really play the biggest role, like the backgrounds, as one might think. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna be a street kid, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and I could tell because I was expecting the corpo intro to be an hour and a half, but it was actually like 25 minutes
yeah,
or something like that.
Like 10 to 25 minutes. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, just because I was reading everything very carefully and exploring all the dialogue.
The longest intro is it's the Nomad one.
Yeah, I can imagine because you're outside of the city.
You're outside of the city. You actually do have like an actual shootout in the Nomad intro. Even like you have and it's the only one that has combat in it. I think the Nomad one works the best of the intros. Actually, I've played all three just to see how different they are, and I really like the Nomad one. And one thing all three have together is Jackie Wells. What a kooky guy. What do you think?
What a guy.
What do you think of Jackie? I was about to call him Jackson. What do you think of Jackie?
What do I think of Jackie? From the trailers, I was expecting him to be worse because in the trailers they only do the very stereotypical I'm the big Mexican guy, pendejo, all that kind of stuff, which is a bit feels like a video game from 2008 rather than 2009, 2020 or whatever it is. But I feel like in the game he's actually a little less grating than I was expecting. So I don't know. So far, I don't mind him as much because he also has some quiet moments with him right at the beginning. So yeah, we'll see how it evolves. Again, I haven't really gotten into the story much, but I was expecting him to be worse. So I think my low expectations made him look a little better than he probably is.
And maybe like a lot of people felt the same way because I remember as well was going in like, oh, here's this Jackie guy. Ugh, what a person. I fucking hate him. And I realized really quickly, like, he's actually pretty fun. Like, I like him. He's like, he does have like some of that stereotypical like Latinx thing that you see in so many video games. Like even movies and TV shows still have that stereotype. Everywhere. That being said, like he has more to him. And I think that's what makes him good and what makes him tick. Like he doesn't come off as a bad guy, for example. Like he actually comes up as a genuine well-being. And you've seen the intro. Like you'll do it actually explain? Yeah, in the intro, like you see that you live with his mom at one point, and like he really loves you. Like not loves you. He really cares about you.
Yeah.
So are you playing?
It's a cool friendship It seems, at least. I don't know how much they go into it in the game, but I think they're good at portraying the fact that they are already friends. It feels like your character is friends to this guy, even if you don't know the guy yet. You can feel that your character does, and
Yeah. Are you playing male or female V?
I'm playing female V.
Good, good, good. Because the
So he
voice
calls
acting,
me Chica all the time.
Chica, yeah. The male V
The
voice
voice
act,
acting for female V,
yeah, female V's
is
voice
much worse.
acting is good. Male V's voice
A
acting
lot
can
better.
be grating. So yeah, probably for the
Yeah,
best you
I know.
play female V. Also,
Yeah, and also some of the dialogue, sometimes it kind of goes from 0 to 100 in a second. Like there's this one scene where where there's no parking spot, so where shall I drop like this flying car that I'm riding? Oh, who gives a fuck about the parking spot? And you just park in the middle of a basketball court or whatever. And so I'm trying to play a character that's a little bit less of an asshole than that, and it's a bit weird.
yeah,
But
it's a
overall,
yeah,
I'm still enjoying it a lot.
yeah. You
Because
kind of have to,
the setting, if there's one thing I could say, the setting is exactly what I want.
yeah,
And I love it so much, and I want to explore it, and I want to learn about it.
yeah, and you can explore and learn about it. One thing I would say, like the game, once you've beat the first act, which is kind of like the tutorial act, like you can tell on the map, like your main mission is wait for
Yeah,
lockdown to end. Like one of the missions, like wait for the
yeah,
lockdown to end. After the
yeah. And I'm
lockdown,
like, oh, great. And I'm like, great. This is awesome. This is just what I want from my escapism, to be in lockdown.
but after like the lockdown ends and the rest of the map opens, there's a lot of like
Hmm.
side missions where the characters call you and be like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, V, I have this mission for you. Those missions are almost always fantastic and they branch out.
Hmm.
Do those. But some of them,
Oh, I
like
will.
side gigs and side missions that you find on the map, some of them are literally just kill this guy, go back and talk, and be like, oh,
Yeah.
you've killed this guy. Great. Some of them do some interesting things, but most of them are eh. But the side missions, the one with the actual story, very good. Like I would say, very,
So
very, very good.
the ones where they call you are worth doing for sure.
Yeah,
Then I'll keep that in mind.
and some of those where you just like
I've already,
find something are sometimes good. Like
yeah,
some, I don't want to spoil them there, but there are ones where you find it like this is some weird shit. But the best
yeah,
ones are where they call you and be like, I have a mission for you. Then you know, okay, it's like a scripted missions with some like story elements to it.
cool.
Um,
Yeah, I've already met one of the fixers, because as soon as you arrive in Watson,
Yeah.
you get a call. Well, you meet Dexter Deshawn, which is the main story
Yeah.
thread, but there's also this other person who calls you and tells you, "Oh, I'm actually a local fixer."
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but
Yeah, and that's like
yeah.
the thing that like every borough has their own fixer that call you and like, give you missions and shit. But yeah,
Good. So it's only one per borough. That's good.
yeah, she's the one
'Cause-
for that borough, the lady. Yeah,
Great. Okay. Because the one negative thing that I have to say about the game so far is that it does kind of feel a bit overwhelming at the beginning, because there's so many upgrades. There's like different perks. There's active things. There's passive things. There's chips. There's like your hacks. Then there's your weapons, and you can upgrade the weapons. You can add stuff to the weapon. Like there's a lot of customization. And at the same time, I'm getting the feeling that it won't be as important as it could be. Like I feel like the combat will depend much more on like the guns that I have and how much DPS they have, rather than how I customize stuff and all that.
the thing is,
Although I am going to explore hacking, because that seems fun.
the thing is, there's a lot of like it depends on also like how much work you want to put in it. Like you can easily just like grab a gun and go guns blazing, but for me at least, like I hacked and used silent pistols and did a lot of like cool things with that. And for me, like hacking specifically gave me another way to like here's the thing, if you just go in guns blazing, it's just a bad shooter, and I think a lot of people played it that way. For me at
No, I
least,
won't. So
yeah, for me at least, going stealth, I beat missions without like killing people because just like legitimately just stealthed my way through without shooting anyone, and that
Hmm.
was like a challenge I imposed on myself. So I also think that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed the game so much more than other people, because I just like kept imposing challenges on myself. But yeah, I would probably say go hacking because it's fun.
For sure.
Like it's fun. Go with
No, yeah,
hacking, go with guns, and
I've already I've
oh
already decided to go with like stealth, hacking, and maybe like just pistols, like silent pistols, that kind of thing. Because that, any game that I can play stealth, I'll play stealth.
yeah,
So
because
I'll probably do
we
it.
miss
Do it in
Metal
this
Gear,
one.
so
Metal Gear.
we
Yeah, we miss Metal Gear. So
pro
we
tip.
just have to pretend. Pro tip.
Here's a free tip, and this is for everyone who's gonna play stealth in Cyberpunk. It's super important because you're gonna thank me later. There's this perk on
Okay.
the cool tree, which is like the stealth tree and something else.
Yep.
In that, there's this there's this perk where you can get like throwing knives.
Hmm.
Yeah, don't spend your point there, because the way it works is
Okay.
like if you throw your knife, you lose it and you can't pick it up again. So
Oh
yeah,
shit. So you just
yeah.
have to be buying knives all the time.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that, and there's no reason. You might as well just go with a solid pistol at this point. Um,
Yeah, I will for sure. For
yeah,
sure. So yeah, that was episode 1 of the Night City Reports with Hugo. We'll see what happens next week. I think I'll be playing more. I kind of didn't play too much because I was a little burned out on games because I played so much like last week and the beginning of this week. But I will be playing more. I'm enjoying the game. I'm excited to really get into it. Let's move to our second segment this week, which is, as usual, our review of episode 3 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This episode is called Power Broker, or The Power Broker, or whatever, something like that. Which I think is a weird title,
yeah,
considering that the Power Broker is kind of a red herring that we don't meet,
yeah.
um, or at least I don't think we do. Some people think it's Sharon Carter, but I don't
It's
know.
not.
Could be. I don't know. I don't think so. It's kind of a weird theory. But anyway, what did you think of this episode overall?
I liked it a lot actually, and I feel like this show just keeps getting better with every
Mhm.
episode. And for me, this is like another one of those. Okay, I really enjoy the show, and for me, I think I realized the thing I enjoy most about this show is the fact that we have, well, other than the maybe America isn't as great as we thought it was
Yeah,
plot, because this is
yeah,
what the show is about at this point. But other than that, I really
it is.
like how many, like it's a show that has so many factions that are all like fighting for different things, and they're like morally not necessarily good or evil. A lot of these, like the flag smashers. Like we saw today, like they some of or yesterday's episode, so like the leader did some bad shit by the end. It was like, oh,
Oh yeah,
yeah, they made her like her up until this. Like, yeah, this wasn't good, Kali. Don't do that. Don't blow up those
people.
fucking
Yeah,
people. Don't blow
you
up
don't have to
people.
do
You
this. Yeah,
know, you were
take
doing
the high
so
ground.
great. Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, we do
Yeah,
understand why she's doing what she's doing. On the
for
other
sure.
hand,
And she
they
also, in the episode, she also loses a person that's very close to her.
yeah,
So
Dunya, which
you know,
is which made me laugh a bit, like because I feel like it was kind of on the nose, because Dunya means world in Arabic, so I mean, know.
oh
Yeah, so she
great.
lost her world.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was
Well,
like,
I guess they are thinking that most people don't speak Arabic, I suppose.
yeah.
But yeah,
Dunya is also
it,
like a
that is,
normal name. Like it's not like a
yeah, yeah.
weird name to be called Dunya. But
Okay,
I just like
that's
noticed
good.
it, and the way they were talking about how important this person is. And she lost her world. I was like, okay, she did.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. That is pretty
Yeah. Um. Of course, I feel like for me the highlight of this episode was Zemo.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I
There
enjoyed
is
him in like everything that he did.
okay.
Was great.
We talked about this before we went live and before we started recording, but I just want to say on record that Hugo and I, we agree that Zemo at the club is number one MCU moment right now for me. Him just going
Yeah,
and just vibing and just like fist bumping in the
he's
club
great.
was, it made me laugh
It's
so much because I was like, "Wh- is this really the same guy from Civil War? And he is, like, he's not acting super different. It's just that we didn't have enough time with him in Civil War to get
Yeah,
to know
we're
him.
just
And now,
exploring him as a character. Yeah.
yeah,
Although, like, Jackson did point this out to me that
yeah,
he was like, "Oh, Zemo he was a man of means, but he didn't strike me as the kind of guy who has like a personal butler, his
yeah,
own personal
me neither.
Alfred with a
Me neither.
private jet, and where he eats, where he drinks very nice champagne or whatever." But that's
I
fair. Whatever.
just realized something. So, like, when we saw him in Civil War, when he had to like leave for
Yeah,
Siberia, he just went through the airport like a normal person. Why not just use the private
exactly.
jet?
That
I
was
just realized that. Oh, if he has a private jet, and it's funny. Were you surprised when they called him when he said, like, "Yeah, I'm a Baron"? Like he's Baron Zemo, not just because that's who he
pretty
is
much.
that's who he is in the comics. He's known as Baron Zemo. So I guess they were like, yeah, we gotta bring the Baron thing back into the MCU as well. So
We're just gonna say it,
we're
and
just
yeah.
gonna say it. Yeah,
Although,
he's a
like
Baron.
In Civil War, he was like a soldier, right? He was a
Yeah,
Sokovian, no, a Sokovian spy, not a soldier. I think, like
I think it was a
Sokovian
general
intelligence or whatever. And
intelligent. Yeah,
his
something.
family
Yeah,
died. Is there
and a
something like that?
Baron as
Yeah,
well. So he's a Secret Service
yeah.
Sokovian
He also happens to be a baron.
as a butler.
Yeah, it's
For me, I think it makes him way better because it's just like it's so kooky. And I think that's why I like it. Like
yeah,
it's so out there.
yeah.
It's like,
And I
okay,
like what they do with him is like, yeah, he's a villain and he did some dark shit, but he's also kind of like a fun guy to hang around with.
like even like one of my favorite moments was them in the plane talking about the Troubleman song with Marvin Gaye. He's like, yeah, it really encapsulates the African American experience. And Sam going like you're crossing a line,
Great.
but yeah, he's right.
He is right. Yeah, that was a good moment. Good moment. But aside from the more comedic side, I did like them how they brought him back, like because his character tracks. It's still consistent with. It makes sense that he'd want to help them because he doesn't want the superpowered people to just run around the world to control stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And his little speech, we're laughing at what the joke before, but his little speech about Captain America's shield and how American symbols become like they get idolized, and then once they're idealized and like fetishized, they turn into symbols that can be used for war. And I thought that was really like quite poignant for Marvel, especially like
Yeah.
they went
And
there.
it went there. Like, yeah, and for me, that's when I say cue John Walker in this episode, the new Captain America.
Yeah,
Because we saw
yeah,
him being a real American soldier. Like this, for me, I once saw like, yeah, for me, like, okay, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say it. For me, John Walker is how Americans think they are. No, sorry, Captain America is like Steve Rogers is how they think they are. John Walker is who
yeah.
they are. Like, because for
Oh
me,
yeah,
that was like, oh, this is what I think of when I think of American military. It's the guy like John Walker who might be like a sympathetic person at heart. Like he is a human being, and
yeah.
we also like need to have a nuance
Yeah,
when we talk about things like that. That being said, he's an asshole and he's a horrible person. Like
yeah.
the way like he thinks just because he's wearing the shield that people are gonna respect him, and that's not the case. People don't like the German guys. Like I don't care. And I noticed that his John Walker's sidekick, I guess I forgot his name. Lesker.
I can't remember.
Battlestar or whatever it is. His
Battlestar, yeah.
Interesting
pick.
Yeah, he seems to be like he's conscious at this point. He's like, we can't do this, and hey, this and that. For example, when they're talking to that German guy at the like internet cafe or whatever it is, like he was like harboring the flag smashers.
Yeah, and he gets so angry because he doesn't automatically respect him as Captain America. And like the German guy is like, that doesn't mean this. The American symbol doesn't mean anything to me. What do you want? And he's like,
and he calls them
so
American.
mad.
He calls them American brutes. And Lesker, Battlestar doesn't translate that. He just says he doesn't know where they are because he knows John is gonna fuck his shit up if he knew that's what he said.
Oh,
For me,
yeah.
that was again one of those like cool character moments where we get to like get under the
Mhm.
skin of these characters. I think I honestly wish that the MCU would just continue on with miniseries while watching this,
Mhm.
because like there's no reason for the movies. We don't have time to get to know these characters. This is
Yeah.
remind me of like reading a comic book, and the thing that it's interconnected with everything else is very comic booky. Because a
Mhm.
friendly reminder: this show and Thor: The Dark World take place in the same universe. Just a friendly reminder out
Yeah.
there. This is the same universe. Like that happened. But now we're
Mhm.
talking about like American symbolism and what that means.
Yeah. So I agree. I think the I was skeptical of the television pivot initially, just because I'm more of a movie guy, and I feel like a lot of too many TV shows can be a bit overwhelming. But at the same time, I do agree that TV is kind of a better vehicle to kind of get under, like, to actually explore these characters and not just have big bombastic events and
Yeah,
stuff. So I hope they can keep the movies there for like the big, not more important, but more like uh, giant CGI monster fights
yeah.
and stories and events, and kind of use the TV shows as character work to build the characters that we are then going to see in the movies and care about them more. But yeah, let's talk about Madripoor. That's from
Oh
the
yeah,
comics, right?
yeah. That's
The
from
the the John
Cyberpunk.
Wick slash
Yeah,
Night City
yeah. The
underworld
night. Yeah.
place.
As soon as I
Yeah,
saw it, it's like this is Night City. That was my first instinct.
yeah,
Yeah, Metropole was from the comics, and it was so funny to me because I've never seen someone get like So Joe, I watched the show with Joe, and
yeah.
she got so excited when they started talking about Metropole because they were like, "Oh, it's this what was it they called it?
Pirate City, yeah.
Pirate City from the
The Pirate
1800s."
Haven or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. And so Joe was like, "Oh, they're still stuck in the 1800s. They got like actual pirate ships and such." She thought it was like old school pirate, and they were gonna go on a pirate adventure. And then they arrived in this futuristic city, and she's like, "This is what I wanted." It's
That's
like, no,
amazing.
that's not what they meant. They just meant the laws.
Yeah,
uh,
to like this whole episode, I think again, Jackson pointed it out to me, but I think it was written by somebody who worked on John Wick as well.
oh,
Because somebody who worked on John Wick,
yeah,
and you can tell because like this whole city is neon lit in the same way that John Wick is lit.
yeah,
Um, there's this whole underworld thing where there's kind of like this mysterious figure at the top of the underworld, which is like the power broker, as they call him or her. We don't know who it is yet,
yeah.
but they send out texts, and all the assassins know. Oh, these people
Yeah,
are, they have a bounty on them
I
now.
kept thinking, this
Go
is
get them.
just John Wick. This is
It's just John
exactly
Wick.
like there's this
Yeah.
one shot, especially where they're like, oh, they're following us, and there's this lady dancing in a window,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and she points her fingers and makes like a gun motion and shoots at them. It's like that's such a John Wick thing because it's so weird,
yeah,
but it works.
yeah. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
So they reintroduced Sharon
The
Carter.
criticism, yeah, the criticism that I have, sorry, just to go back on the setting,
Oh,
is
sorry.
you built this awesome sort of underworld cyberpunk city, and then the major action scene in the episode is just like a container area. It's a
Yeah.
lot of containers. It's during the day, so it kind of looks grayish, and yeah, you have this cool setting, and you just kind of don't use it at all, and you just do some actions in like a Call of Duty map or
Yeah,
whatever. Like it's
that
I
confused
don't
me
get it.
as well as to why they chose to have the lab there. Because
Yeah,
I feel like having it in the city would be way cooler. I don't know why they chose to
yeah,
do it like that.
to create like much more creative action set pieces. Like you remember that action scene in Endgame where like what's his name
Okay, okay,
Hawkeye, yeah, is in Tokyo like murdering yakuza or whatever,
yeah,
and
cool
you have
scene.
that really cool action scenes with neon lighting and stuff. Why not do something like that? Why do you have to use like this
Yeah,
harbor as your setting? It's just just looks a bit uninteresting, and I don't understand why they always have really cool locations, and they often don't use them for the action sequences, and I don't really get why. But
Yeah, good.
I
Yeah,
thought action with Sharon Carter was really good. It was
yeah,
well shot, it was well choreographed, and yeah, it was fun.
yeah. And I was actually thinking while watching it as well, it's like it's super sad that whenever we have like these like whenever Marvel has the super heroics, it's never that gets me going like, oh yeah, that was cool. It's
Yeah.
always when the humans fight because
Mhm.
it's like I don't know if the directors are actually I don't I'm not gonna pretend I know who makes this shit, okay? But I don't know if they
Yeah.
have a difficult time figuring out how to use like the abilities or like make them feel interesting or I have no
I'm not
idea.
sure.
It confuses me honestly because it seems simple and I'm using air quotes because of course I have no idea if it's simple. I just watch this
Yeah.
shit and then I complain on I'm so tired. But
Yeah.
it seems to be like there could be some more like interesting ways of using the abilities and interesting ways of using them.
Yeah, like Falcon isn't even in the suit this week.
No,
So
no,
he doesn't really get to do much. Like he just stands around with holding a gun or whatever.
yeah,
And Sharon gets all the action, which is cool. I
yeah,
really like her action. I
yeah.
just
Plus,
then why are these guys here? They're not really doing much.
plus her character is cool now because we get to know her
Yeah,
just a bit more instead of her kissing Captain America and then leaving for years.
yeah,
Yeah,
for no reason. Yeah,
for no reason. Which is like,
yeah,
yeah,
she's more interesting now. Although, again, um, I think what I'm finding with this show is that I'm kind of having to suspend my disbelief quite often because like why would she if they've given a pardon to Falcon and all the people who were involved, why is she on the run in this pirate city? I don't get it. Like after the blip, wouldn't they reevaluate all this stuff and
yeah.
she
Be
would be
like
brought back
maybe.
or whatever? Like,
I guess she
there's no
wasn't.
reason why she has to be in exile or whatever.
She
It's
wasn't
weird.
at the battle. She wasn't at the battle at the end by the Avengers compound. So
Yeah,
I
so
guess that's the rule. If you were there, you were pardoned, and if you weren't, fuck you. I guess
yeah.
that's
You know what I
how.
mean? It's kind of like it's like, oh, okay. I just kind of accept it, but
Mm,
I, I don't really think about it too much, so it doesn't really matter because
yeah,
the show is fun
yeah,
anyway.
and
But
that's
it's
the
like
thing. Yeah,
tiny little questions that I'm like, what's the reason for this? But whatever. Um, then finally at the end, we get like a bigger scene with the flag smashers. We see Kali, is she called? What's
yeah.
her name?
Morgenthau.
Kali Morgenthau. Doing basically they raid another. What's it called? It's called
The
the General
GR's.
Repatriation Council or something like
Yeah,
that. No,
center.
International Repatriation Council, something like that.
Yeah,
Basically, there's this big council that exists now after the blip, where they kind of deal with all the people that came back and how they repatriate him and how they refound society as it was, kind of. And so the flag smashers go to this compound and they steal all their supplies to bring them to refugee camps, which they did last week as well. And we were like, oh, so these are the good guys. They're supposed to be the villains. And yeah, and so they kind of turned them into a bit more of a villainous
yeah.
entity because they do just murder all the guards that were there, which seems quite unnecessary. But we'll see what they do with them. I hope they can manage to maintain some nuance all the way to the end with them and make us kind of care for their side because they're fighting a good fight, even though they're doing it with the wrong means. But their position is valid, and
I
I
mean,
kind of agree with it compared to not giving people their
yeah,
food in refugee camps. You know?
yeah. But also, like, it's a whole thing to do that means justify the end. It's kind of like Killmonger in Black Panther. Like, his character, like, he
It
has
is, yeah.
nuance. You understand every single thing he does in that movie. But you're also on the side of, hey, maybe you should go to war with the world. Like, that's not gonna bring anything good. It's kind of the
Yeah.
same thing here, and I'm really excited to see where it's going. Like, and I hope, yeah, as you say, they can keep the nuance.
Yeah.
I had one more
And
thing.
also, I think we find out where the serum comes from. It basically, they used Isaiah's blood.
Yeah,
Turns out the doctor was able to synthesize new serum from Isaiah's blood, which is grim. It's very dark. And yeah, we'll see what they exactly do with it. I think they killed the doctor, so there's nobody else who can do it, and there's only 20 vials. So there's at max there's 20 of these super soldiers, and we'll see how they'll deal with them. But it's kind of an interesting setup because it builds on what was done last week.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see like where these characters are gonna end up at the end of this, because at the end of the episode, who shows up, Hugo?
Yeah, Wakandan warrior. I'm not sure why they chose to have a new character here.
She's not new.
And not, isn't she?
She's the one from Civil
I know
War.
she's not new.
Yeah, she's the Dora Milaje from Civil War. Sorry?
Okay, yeah. Oh, that makes sense, I guess. But
Yeah,
I was just thinking, why not use Okoye, which is a character we have a relationship with?
I guess
already, right?
she didn't have time because she was filming Walking Dead, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be like something as simple as that, but she's the one that has been
busy murdering zombies.
Yeah. No, she's been like, she's the one from Civil War, and she was also in Black Panther. Like, I recognized her as soon as she showed up. And then, like, the
I remember
music.
Just wasn't a main character there. I think.
And that's like the thing for me again. Well, like, I'm so excited because okay, we have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Then we have the American government, specifically with John Walker.
Yeah.
Then we have the Flag Smashers. We also have the Power Broker, and we have Wakanda now in the mix. That's like 5 factions that are kind of at war with each other, it seems. And I love this sort of shit. Like, I really find this sort of stuff super fun, and I hope they kind of tie it well together. Because so far, this globetrotting it, so far, I had the lowest expectations for this show, and it's kind of constantly beating my expectations. Like, this show is way better than I expected it to be, because I thought it was gonna be, oh, now Falcon is Captain America and they're gonna fight some anarchist. Woohoo! America wins. It's like no. This isn't what this show is about at all.
That is also what I was expecting, and I guess maybe we didn't give them enough credit because like Civil War and Winter Soldier are not that.
Yeah.
So I was for some reason I didn't expect them to be as good as those, but so far it's been very good and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it ends up. But let's move on to our third segment this week, which is our eulogy for poor Mario, which was
Wahoo.
who was killed this week.
Wahoo!
Yahoo! Mamma mia!
Mamma mia!
Yeah, Nintendo unfortunately murdered Mario. But so we thought we'd go back and talk a bit about our history with Mario games, and specifically then go into sort of a more in-depth review of 3D World and Bowser's Fury, which kind of just came out this year. So yeah, let's start from our history with Mario games. So when did we first kind of encounter the mainline Mario games or the Mario character? Which ones have we played and haven't played? You know, that sort of stuff. Which ones are our favorites? So let's start with you. When did you first become aware of Mario and play a Mario game?
I feel like I've always been aware of Mario. Maybe my first console was the Super Nintendo. So I think Super Mario World was my first like Mario game that I played. And I must have been like 8, 6, 7, like very young when I was introduced to Mario. For me, like Mario games, I gave it back then. You could tell when a game was good, but you didn't have the vocabulary to say why this game was better than other games. That was me with Mario. Like I could tell while playing that this just felt better. It looked better. It was fun. Mario's cool. He has a mustache. I mean, because the only other like 2D platform I was obsessed with when I was a kid was the Donkey Kong series. Like I used to play Donkey Kong Country. And admittedly, I played more Donkey Kong than I played Mario. That being said, Super Mario World was my introduction. What about yours?
Well, I'm a little younger than you are. and my first console, like proper console, was a PlayStation 2 when I was, I think, 7. But before that, there was this friend of mine in the town where we used to live. We don't live there anymore, but anyway, this friend of mine's older brother, had a PlayStation 1 and a Nintendo 64. So we would just spend hours playing Metal Gear and having no idea what was going on, and we just did not understand the game at all. And when we got bored because we had no idea what we were doing in Metal Gear, we would just turn on Mario, and Mario 64 was the first one I played then. So I just remember the instantly it just feels so much fun. At the time, it also looked incredible because for
Yeah.
me, the graphics at the time were, oh, this looks like a cartoon that I'm controlling. That type of feeling. Which, of course, you look at it now and it seems blocky and stuff. So, but at the time, it gave you that feeling, and we had so much fun with that game. And we remembered we would just spend like hours just doing the slide and seeing who could get the best time and stuff like that, or like getting the baby penguin and just throwing him off
Of
and seeing
course,
the mom
everybody
get
did
angry.
that.
So fun, so much fun. And then moving on to like my what else I played is then I also got a Game Boy Advance. So that's the first time I played the 2D Mario games, because I think the Game Boy Advance had kind of a one cartridge where you had both Super Mario Brothers, the first one, and Super Mario 3, but they were kind of like the remastered versions or whatever. Like they had better graphics, but the game was essentially the same. And I think that's the first time I played 2D Mario. But I think I really got into 2D with the DS and the new Super Mario games. So yeah. So in terms of the rest of the series, what have you played and what haven't you played?
Yeah, so
What are some omissions?
I played the NES games. So I played
Mhm.
Mario 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Afterwards, like I played Mario. So here's the thing: I had an N64. I still have it actually. It's in my basement.
Mm.
But I never actually had Mario 64 on my 64. I did, however, play Mario 64 a lot when I was when I was visiting family in Palestine, actually.
Oh,
And my cousin had a 64, and he had Zelda Ocarina of Time, which was the first time I played a Zelda game, and he had Mario 64. So that
yeah.
summer, did you think I was like spending time outside in the sun or going to the beach?
No.
No, I stayed indoors
Hell
playing Mario 64.
no.
I, and that's like how
Good
I
time.
always remember that game. It's like strictly tied to that memory of me like going around. What's the same thing that you just talked about? Like it felt like playing a cartoon
Yeah.
and you were running around and it was this open space. There were no levels per se. Like it didn't feel like there were levels. And I remember as a kid that confused me. Because like
Yeah.
I can go here and I can also go over there and I can go behind. What? And who's this
Yeah.
creep looking at me whenever I look at the mirror? You know, the camera guy? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
he's, and I tried to catch him. And like, I remember a lot of that. And I don't think I played the game correctly. Like, I didn't go for the stars or whatever. I was
Oh
just
no.
fucking around.
Yeah. I
Mostly.
never actually beat 64.
Oh,
I
me neither.
played it a lot because we used to play it all the time, but at some point it became too hard for us and we could just move on and we just replay older levels
Yeah.
because it was fun.
For me,
Yeah.
then afterwards, the thing is, I kind of fell off Mario for some reason. So I would play
Mm.
Mario Kart. I would still play. I would still play Mario Party, but the mainline actual Mario games, I don't know why. Maybe it's because like I was a teenager and I was like, oh no, I only play adult games like Metal Gear Solid 2. And maybe that's kind of what happened.
Metal
So
Gear.
Metal
Sorry.
Gear, and maybe that's why I never I didn't return until kind of want to say like with Odyssey actually. So there
Mm.
was like a big gap where I didn't play. So I played again NES games. I played Super Mario World. I played in Super Mario 64. Didn't play Sunshine. I wanted to play Sunshine though, but I didn't get it on the GameCube
Mm.
because Nintendo games never fall in price. And the problem was now I'm actually think I'm remembering. The problem
Yeah.
was like my family was like kind of kind of tight on money. Like we weren't like super poor, but we weren't like middle class either. So the
Mhm.
problem was like I could
Yeah.
get new games all the time. So I kind of in that period almost like always fell in love with longer games. So I play like a lot of
Mhm.
JRPGs instead because I knew like okay I can get a lot of money's worth out of this game. So I didn't play
Yeah.
Mario games because then I
That
was
makes
like oh
sense.
they're kiddie games again until I like rediscovered Mario or whatever you want to call it. So now
With
I'm
Odyssey.
a Mario fan again. I love Mario.
Yeah. So for me, I kind of have a similar story but different because the thing with me was I never had the consoles. I the first home console from Nintendo that I've ever had is the Switch. Surprisingly,
Whoa.
yeah, that's surprising. But I always had a PlayStation. I had two, and then I had the three and four, five, and I always had the newest version of the DS. Well, not all of them because there's so many, like the new Nintendo 3DS XL, Electric Boogaloo, whatever. But I had most of the DSs. I had the DS, and then I had the DSi or whatever, the 3DS, all of those. So any Mario game that was available on that, I played. So I actually replayed 64 on the DS version
Mm.
of 64. I played all the 2D games, like the new Super Mario games. I played all of them. I played later. Then I think we got a Wii, and I did play the 2D Mario on that one, but for some reason I didn't play the 3D Mario because
You
for
didn't
some
play
reason, like,
Galaxy?
yeah, no, not really, because at the time, again, I was, I don't know, 12 years old, and we got the Wii as a family, which most of the time we were just playing like Wii Sports together because that was the big reason to buy a Wii at the time, and I for some reason my 12-year-old brain didn't connect the idea of the Wii to other video games, and like
Mm.
all the video games that I would play were either on the PlayStation at the time was a PS3 or the DS. So I played all the new Super Mario Brothers games, and then yeah, with the Switch was where I kind of rediscovered the 3D games as well. Because first, of course, Odyssey, which came out first year of the Switch, and then they re-released, with Mario 3D All Stars. I played 64 a bit more. I didn't beat 64, but I played a bit. I played
Sorry.
all of Galaxy, which is a great game. I 100% did that one. I got all the stars and stuff. Fantastic video game. I played a bit of Sunshine, but I kind of the controls in that game are kind of hard to get around. Like wrap your head around, whatever the saying is, because especially if you're coming off Galaxy, which is so smooth, it plays so well, considering it's a game that at this point is almost 15 years old, something like that. It played so well, and Sunshine felt a little wonky for me, so I
Mm.
kind of didn't really play more of it. But then again, then I played 3D World, I played Bowser's Fury that came out this year. So really, the only ones that I'm missing are Sunshine and Galaxy 2. So hopefully, they give us Galaxy 2 when they actually resuscitate Mario next year or
Yeah.
whatever.
Maybe they'll do like a remastered version, but instead of Mario, it's Luigi. And it's
Yeah,
Luigi
they could be.
Sunshine.
They could do that. It was an odd choice to not include Galaxy 2 in the repackaging, considering that they didn't really do any work on them. They just kind of put them in a bit of a higher resolution and put them out on the Switch. I feel like it would have been good to have Galaxy 2 on it as well, but it's Nintendo. What are you going to do? Um, it's okay. What would you say is your favorite Mario game?
Right.
Because for me personally, it's actually Odyssey, which is kind of a hot take among big Mario fans. But
I think I might
I would
agree.
say Odyssey is my favorite, and then Galaxy.
I think I might agree.
They're pretty close.
I think my favorite, like again, I haven't played too many of them, as you could hear, as well,
Mhm.
like especially the 3D ones.
Yeah.
Uh, I think Odyssey is my favorite as well. And for me, Odyssey is fun because it's the world for me more than
Yeah.
it's like all his little animations, all the costumes you can put Mario in. It's like that for me,
Oh yeah.
and I kind of understand why some of the more hardcore fans are like, oh yeah, no, Odyssey isn't my favorite. I do think there are way too many moons, and it can get a bit overwhelming.
Oh yeah. there's way
Yeah.
too many.
Like
Way
some
too many.
like you
I don't know how
sneeze and
many.
it's like good sneeze, Mario. Woo! I just what? um and, but for me, I really like the world. I think the world has so much character, and I feel Mario especially is like he's never looked better. Joe is
Mhm.
actually playing the game right now as we speak, and I just looked over like look at that little guy go. Like he's running, he takes his arms out
Yeah,
to the side when he runs down like a hill. Like what a
yeah,
guy!
and like
What a guy!
when he's cold, he shakes, like he's shaking because he's
Yeah,
cold, and the controller vibrates a little bit. Like, yeah,
yeah. Like
that game is endlessly imaginative as well. Like all the levels are so different, and I think it's fantastic. I know some people prefer the more hardcore gameplay focused Mario because I think Odyssey is more explorative than the
yeah,
other games. Because even because of the fact that it doesn't kick you out every time you get a finish, like the objective is not do this task and then go back to the beginning of the level, do a new task and all that. But I actually kind of like that about it. I
yeah.
like just messing around in the world and finding stuff. And
And
yeah, I don't know how many moons did you get in the game, more or less.
600, 500, around there.
Yeah,
I
I got.
think.
I
I
remember.
think I'm
I
not even
remember the
sure.
500. I think the 500 was the amount that you needed to get the secret, super secret final level.
Then I
You
got
know
at
the
least
the
that. Yeah. Then I have
yeah
at
the
least that.
second, like the dark side of the moon or
Yeah.
whatever it was
The
called.
darker side of the
And I
moon.
remember
There's the
the
dark
darker
side,
side of
and
it. Yeah,
then yeah.
the darker side. Yeah, I think I beat that super difficult, awesome challenge, and where at the end you become the electricity, and it says thank you for playing. Oh, it's such a good game.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
absolutely loved that part. But then after that, I was like, okay, I don't need to get all 999 moons.
No,
That
no.
seems a bit excessive.
Anyway. Yeah, that was the thing for me as well. It's like, okay, I've experienced this game. I feel like at
Yeah,
this point, I don't need to complete it. Like I didn't have that compulsion need to just go through everything and get
yeah,
everything. I did, however, have a lot of fun doing the races in the game where you like meet the, especially because that's when you learn like really to break the game and you realize how
yeah.
much like you can maneuver around with the you jump in there, throw the captain, do a leap at the head and throw, and it's like, oh god, this game is so good, so fun.
And yeah, the movement in that game is so smooth.
Yeah,
Like everything you can do is so perfect, and like frame by frame, it's exactly so precise that yeah, it just feels amazing to play. And it's endlessly entertaining and fun. So yeah, that's why it's my favorite. Although shout out to Galaxy, I don't know if you've played it or not.
no, I want to play it
Well,
at some point,
you should.
and yeah, well,
Yeah,
Mario's dead,
you
so I
should.
can't get it now.
Ours dead. So just get a physical copy.
Okay, I will scour the internet for one at one point.
Yeah,
They have
great
to
game.
I think they're gonna re-release like, but like separately, not as a 3D All-Stars pack. There's no way that they're just gonna say, ah, no, we're not gonna sell this anymore.
That would be extremely weird. Um, but Nintendo are really weird.
Yeah,
So it wouldn't necessarily 100% surprise me. You know, they do weird stuff all the time. So who knows? Okay, I think, yeah. So our favorite Mario game, we agree, is Odyssey. But the game that we are going to review now is actually 3D World and Bowser's Fury, which I guess is the re-release of Mario that came out this year on Switch.
yeah. It's
And yeah, which
Super
contained, of course, the
Mario 3D
Super Mario
World.
3D World. Yeah, that one, which contains the remaster of 3D World, which was the Wii U game, and the new addition to it, which is Bowser's Fury, which I think we'll get into a bit more, which we both played very recently. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I absolutely loved it. It is quite short, but for what it is, I thought it was absolutely amazing.
Do you want to go Bowser's Fury first, or we talk about 3D
What do you
World
think?
first?
Let's start on 3D World,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
because it's before.
yeah.
But I don't have as much to say on 3D World. I think um, they kind of took the structure of the new Super Mario games and made it into a 3D game. I kind of enjoyed 3D Land, the one on 3DS, a bit more for some reason, because I don't know, it was something about having it on handheld that felt really good.
Well, the
Although
Switch
I
is
think
a
it's great.
handheld, so you could just.
Well, yeah, it's technically a handheld, but I don't know about you, but I never undocked my Switch.
I don't undock my Switch, and it's mostly because my Joy-Con drifts. So I just play with the Pro controller on the TV. So
Of
for me, it's a
course.
home console at this point. Like
Yeah.
I never undock my Switch. I play it as a home console. I really liked 3D World.
Yeah.
And for me, 3D World especially was like, it was the social aspect that made it fun. So I played the entire game with Joe from start to finish. And I used Sexy Willie's trick of getting infinite lives.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have infinite lives, this game, like if you like encounter like a difficult obstacle, you
Yeah.
will die and you have to start all over again because you don't
It-
had enough lives. So I just
Yeah.
went in and just did the hoo hoo ha hey ha ho ho ho, and it just kept going, kept going. It's like, okay, now we're ready. Especially because Joe is not like, that was her first platformer, like for real.
Yeah.
Was oh, not a platformer. She's played platforms, but her first Mario game was 3D World, so she wasn't used to it. So it also made like some of the accounts like were difficult for her at least. So having
Yeah.
infinite lives made it like less stressful. I
For
know,
sure.
oh, that's not the correct way you're supposed to play the game, but I don't give a fuck. I play the game as I want because I'm having more fun with infinite lives. So
I also disagree. I think the life system in this game is just frustrating,
yeah,
and it doesn't really add much to the game. It just means, oh, to do this level you have 5 tries or whatever, how many lives you have, and if you don't, you have to start from the beginning, and the checkpoints don't matter.
yeah,
And it kind of like, I don't know, for me, Mario games are about going through the level, having fun, exploring, and finding the stars and whatever. But when the challenge isn't finishing the level, but it becomes how many lives you have, it kind of takes away from the fun a
yeah.
little bit for me. Which is
Here's,
why I kind of enjoy the 3D ones more. The other one, like,
here's another thing that took from the fun, and it's the fact that we pay for Nintendo Online and it sucks.
oh
It's
yeah,
like we played
yeah,
together and we played with like some of our
we
friends
tried.
as well. Like we tried, yeah. And it's horrible. Like the frame rate drops to like under 30 and your characters are just like
Yeah,
teleporting all over the place, and it's
like under 15.
yeah. And it's
Yeah,
just it's
it's horrible.
horrible. Like the online doesn't work at all. I think you need to get like the network adapter and put it full a LAN connection in order to play like at a reasonable like a reasonable frame rate, a reasonable lag at least. And especially a game like this, you can't lag in Super Mario
No,
3D World.
no, it
If
has.
you lag, you die.
Yeah, especially this one, because like this one specifically is quite punishing in how much and how easily you can die, compared like to like even to 64 or Galaxy, or to Odyssey specifically. Um, so yeah, I feel like the online is an issue because I really did want to play through the whole game co-op, but it was kind of challenging to get through that way because it also kind of hurt my eyes after a while.
Yeah, yeah, it gets emotions sick when things aren't working as
Yeah.
intended. Though, when playing with some of our friends, like our friend DJ, for example, when we
Yeah.
played with him, I realized how bad I was at this game. Because
Oh yeah.
that dude was he was a rocket. He was
That
like,
guy's crazy.
he was just running and jumping and flying. I was like, dude, chill, chill. I'm just trying to get this one jump. I'm coming, DJ. And just like run after him. And
Yeah, we kept dying just because
yeah,
we were stuck at the back end of the level.
yeah,
Yeah.
because he was like just running ahead.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can tell
Pro
like
gamer DJ.
a pro gamer. Shout out to DJ, man. What a guy. I
Yeah.
like DJ. Big
Oh yeah.
B, woof woof. Anyways, for me at least, I think the fun part of Mario is the challenge of going through all of that, and it's like it's just
Mhm.
oozing with style and fun and color, and I think that's what makes it fun. And at the end of the day, it's a fucking Nintendo game, and these games are polished to.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think I don't think I've encountered one bug in one of these games.
No. Zero
Nothing
bugs.
at all. It's so polished, it's so clean, and it's so tight. Nothing. Never have I died in 3D World thinking, "Oh wow, it's the game's fault."
No.
Never. It's always like whenever I fall down like a pit and die, and it says the too
Mhm.
bad thing. Like, okay, that was my fault.
Oh no!
Oh, but no, or whatever it is he says. I always go back and go like, okay, let me try that again. I think I'll figure it out this time. And that for me is like, is great level design. That combined with the levels aren't too long either. And that
Mhm.
makes it so fun. Like you can go in, like do a level, shut it off, do something else, and come back and do another level. The game
Yeah.
doesn't command too much of your time, and I enjoy that because sometimes I get tired playing games. I don't know if it's because I'm fucking 30 now and or what it is, but I'm playing a game. It's just like I'm so tired. Like
Yeah.
I
I need a
can't.
break.
I need a break. Well, this one like I would do like maybe 2 or 3 levels, then sit it down, do something else, and come back to it.
Mhm.
And that's for me why like between the two, honestly, I enjoyed 3D World more than Bowser's Fury.
Mm.
And I'll get into that why as well. But for me, co-op wise, what a fun fucking game! And I wished that we were like 4 people playing.
Yeah.
Online,
That would be
offline
so
doesn't
much
matter,
fun.
but yeah, 4 players at once and the chaos that ensues is so much fun. Uh,
Yeah.
Love finding the 3 green stars. Love finding the stamp, and the stamps are like a fun collectible for me as well. Like seeing them show up, like the
Yeah.
game rewards you regardless, and there's always like that aspect of getting better. Like, yeah, getting the 3 green stars, or jumping at the flagpole and grabbing it by the top so you get the gold Mario
Yeah.
flags. Fun times. Like for me, 3D World is the game that I would recommend to someone who hasn't played platformers a lot and wants to give it a shot. I would recommend like
Yeah.
well, when I say platform, I mean like this type of platformers. Like if it's Mario in
Mhm.
general, just like go with Odyssey. But 3D
Yeah.
World for me is like if you want to like just have a
Yeah.
game that has a bunch of fun levels, and it's not super difficult. Like we make it sound as if it's super difficult. Just do the
No,
Willy
no, no.
trick, get infinite lives, and
Oh
off
no.
you go.
Yeah. You have if you do the infinite lives trick and just go through the game, like the actual just normal levels aren't that difficult. Then once you unlock the secret worlds or
Oh
the
boy.
bonus worlds, those get really hard and quite frustrating for me at least. Like tough to get through. Tough to get through.
Yeah, I
Although
finished.
they're a lot of fun to play. So.
Yeah, I finished. Joe and I finished the first world of those like bonus world, and I think we were supposed to move on, but yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe another time we'll do it.
Yeah. Odyssey has taken over her life now.
Yeah,
So
that's the
yeah.
thing.
She has to go to Willy's house in the Mexican world, right?
Yeah, and then he stands like this with the maracas, and it's yeah. Did you see, like he was talking about a little fun thing? A fun thing he was talking about how originally with the game like was shown there were some people who were offended over sombrero Mario, and they removed him from the cover of the game and just put him in swim trunks instead there would that place where sombrero Mario was. And that just makes me insane because like okay, you have sombrero Mario, right, who's like, oh,
Yeah.
he's a Mexican stereotype. Then you have like regular Mario, who is an Italian
Yeah.
stereotype.
Italian.
Then you
Yeah.
go to the beach in Odyssey and you meet like these French snails. Like this game is like filled to the brim with stereotypes, but they're so cartoony that no way
Yeah.
anyone
Who
would be
cares?
offended. Like they're not offensive in any
No.
way at all.
They're just dumb and fun.
They're
Who
dumb and
cares?
fun. Like they're not offensive. They're not
No.
problematic even. Like it's dumb and fun. It's like, oh, the French snails. Like there's nothing there to be mad about.
No.
Uh, it like hearing that the fact that that happened annoyed me. Like, and it's a non-issue though. Like it annoyed me. It didn't
Mhm.
make me angry. Just like, oh, that was annoying.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it didn't. At least it didn't remove Sombrero Mario. Because Sombrero Mario is fucking cool, dude. When he has the poncho on, come on, what a cool little guy. Does the thing with his
Uh,
arms.
which ones were some of your favorite costumes? Because I think I went for Samurai Mario a lot. That was
Oh,
funny.
that's fine. I think actually
Chef Mario.
I always
Chef
changed. I
Mario.
always changed depending on where I was, but I think the night costume was one I was.
Oh yes, yes.
You know,
And
it
you do
had
that
like
Dark Souls boss
the Dark
fight
Souls
with
boss
the
one.
giant dragon.
Yeah, I was like,
Amazing.
okay, I'm playing Dark Souls now, and then later you play Sekiro and you're a samurai. I was like, what?
Yeah,
That's
great.
where From Software gets all the inspiration. It's Mario.
Insane. Speaking of Odyssey, we are moving on now to Bowser's Fury, which I think this is kind of a take that a lot of people have had online, but it does kind of feel like it's DLC more for almost more DLC for Odyssey than it is DLC for 3D World, because it's a completely different style of game. Like it takes the basic jumping mechanics of 3D World, but it puts you in an open world and you have a free camera and you go through like the levels in the sim in a similar way to Odyssey more than like 3D World itself. So it's kind of a strange thing that they chose to do it with that engine rather than the other one.
For me, this game is a cross between 3D World and Odyssey because it still
Yeah.
has the 3D World elements with the costume. We didn't even talk about the costumes in 3D World, just realized the power
Oh
ups.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we'll talk about them here as well.
Cat
But
Mario and
I wanna tell you, Hugo, how Joe found out that I bought this game. Because she was like using the
okay.
TV, so I just undocked the Switch. I was like, okay, this game doesn't use the right stick, and that's the one that's drifting, so I can play it in handheld mode. So like I
Yeah.
just went inside set at Ben and played, and I finished the first level, and I was like Cat Mario, and then does the and Mario says meow, and so Joe walked in on me, and she said, "So did you buy the game?" And she could just hear Mario from my Switch say "meow," and I just looked at her, and we just like had eye contact for a bit, and she just walked off. It's like, no, I don't want anything to do with whatever the fuck that was. the
Meow. Yeah,
the
that's great.
power up costume, I'll really love what they do with them. So Cat
Mm-hmm.
Mario obviously is like the main point of the game. Like it's the main power up, the one you use the most with the
Yeah, in
climbing
both 3D World and Bowser's Fury, by the way.
yeah, and in Bowser's Fury exactly, and how like they use the climbing mechanic, and I really like that. But moving like some of the other power ups as well but oh look, the best power up of the game is the cherry first and foremost, where you pick one up and it clones you,
Oh
and you
yes.
pick another one up, and you can like create an army of Mario's or Luigi's or whoever you're playing as. And I was laughing like so much using that power up because for me, like the level I had most fun with was the rhythm level, and we played it. I believe we played it online together as well. That specific
Oh
level,
yeah.
which was a
And it was
fucking nightmare
yes.
online.
Yeah.
Offline, fantastic. Online, nightmare. But with the ding ding
Because just the
ding
frame
jump
rate doesn't help.
with the rhythm, and for me, again, that's back to the point of great little design, but also just like having the cherries, getting the secret green stars because you have to have enough Marios, which is way easier
Mm-hmm.
when you're two players. Because when it says, "Oh, four," you can be four
Yeah.
players. You don't have to be four cherry Marios or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and I liked how it kept using the power ups because that's for me at least, it kept giving variety to the game. Like it wasn't always jump, jump over this, jump over here. It was off like,
Yeah.
oh, if you climb up here, you'll have a vantage point, and then you realize that over there that there's a green star that you can only get if you climb up as a Cat Mario. That for me is so much fun. Like how big of a role the power ups play in the game.
Yeah. Um. Absolutely, and obviously, Cat Mario is the most evident one because I think it's the one that allows you to not break the game, but it allows you to play around with the level design the most. Because the other ones are kind of traditional 2D
Yeah,
Mario upgrades.
like the
They're fun to play with.
flower or the
Yeah,
boomerang
you've
or
got the boomerang and then the fire flower and that kind of stuff. But yeah, and also Cat Mario obviously plays a major role in Bowser's Fury as well because Bowser's Fury is essentially completely cat themed.
yeah,
Um,
which
yeah,
is
okay,
weird.
so I'm gonna start this.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I'm gonna start this by giving you a description, and you're gonna tell me what game I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so it's an open world. It's an open world game
Wait. Let me close my
where
eyes. Okay. Go.
okay, it's an open world game where the world has kind of been taken over by this black tar of unknown origin, and sometimes it starts raining and some tar monsters come out, and
Oh
you
my
have
god.
to fight
Oh
beat
my
them.
god.
And
Bowser's
what you have to do
Fury.
is, you have to activate some kind of not exactly Assassin's Creed towers, but kind of, to kind of purify the world and unite the world, one could say. So, what game am I talking about?
You're talking about both Bowser's Fury and Death Stranding.
Right?
It's Death Stranding. Like, and it's
Yeah.
funny because when we were playing it, I think at one point I said to because Joe and I played that together as well. I'll talk about the co-op experience in that game because that's way
Yeah.
different than 3D World.
It's,
But I think I said at one point, like, this game is giving me some Death Stranding vibes right now because of all the all the black tar. I
right,
didn't even
though?
think about like more so than that. Like, you're right. It's
Yeah.
so we have Dark Souls, we have Sekiro, now we have Death Stranding.
So, would you say that this is the second Social Strand game?
Yes, definitely. This is the second because Mario. Like, if you look closely, like, Mario is creating a connection with Bowser Jr. in this game.
Right? Yeah.
Bowser Jr. isn't a villain in this one. They're creating this strand, and they have to use each other's help in order to defeat
Yeah.
super mega evil Bowser. And Bowser in this game is
Yeah.
scary, dude. Like
Kaiju Bowser.
Couch
Yeah.
Bowser, where he gets super big and extra mean this time around. And Mario has to
Yeah.
stop him, as always, because that's the plot of Mario.
So, yeah, so the game, as I said, it's a DLC for 3D World, because I think it uses the same engine, kind of, but it feels completely different because it's
Yeah.
an open world game. You go through these different islands, which are kind of different levels, and you kind of, as you unlock more stars, which in this game are, I think, cat stars or whatever they're called.
Shine.
Cat shines, yeah, that's
Yeah.
the name. And the more you unlock, the more you kind of purify the world of this black tar. And the goal of the game is to get all the cat shines so you can purify Bowser himself, because you're teaming up with Bowser Jr. and going through the world and purifying Bowser. But when it starts raining and Bowser shows up in the game, you can unlock these giant cat bells, really,
The
that
Gigabell.
turn you, the Giga Bell, that turn you into Kaiju Cat Mario.
Super
And so basically,
Saiyan Kaiju Cat Mario.
Super Saiyan Kaiju Cat Mario, and basically you have this big kaiju fight between giant Mario and giant Black Tar Bowser.
Which is so
In
cool because you can see the levels still. Like, you're running around in the level, but you're so
running around
big.
the world. Yeah,
Yeah, and
it's
you're
real
like,
time.
yeah, and you're jumping over the levels, like, because you're so big, you're just like jumping over the levels. And
Yeah, it
for
was
me, at
so
least,
cool.
the let's call him Kaiju Bowser, is so much fun because they do have things like, for example, the way you stop him obviously is either you get a cat shine, which just damages him, and it's so funny every single time because he kind of just goes "Arr," and does like
Oh,
and just shrugs and walks away. You're like, okay,
he's
or
just
you can
annoyed by the light.
yeah, he's just annoyed, or you can, as you said, grab the Gigabell and fight him, and every time you beat him, you unlock more of the world.
Mhm.
Sorry, which, like, for me at least, getting the cat shines was so much fun because you actually use Bowser as well because you have like these Bowser
Yeah.
blocks. It was like one of those things where, oh yeah, there was a Bowser block in that level. I'm gonna go back, and I really liked how every single level changed every time you beat Bowser. Because when you came back, you're like, oh, now
Yeah.
there are more monsters here that you have to be careful of.
The
But
new
also,
challenge in this.
there are new challenges, there are new cat shines that you can get.
Mhm.
And for me, it's like it really grabs a lot of the things that worked in 3D World. For example, I forgot, like, that Loch Ness monster kind of thing. I forgot its name.
Yeah.
Lessie?
That guy.
Lessie, right? Lessie, yeah.
Lessie? I don't know what it's called.
I
but
think it's called
yeah.
Lessie. But Lessie, for me at least, was one of the, like, it was so fun just like jumping onto Lessie and just flying away,
Running
running around the world, being like, oh, what's that over there? And you're going, oh, cat shine, and doing like a good.
Yeah.
And for me, like some of the structure and how like few catch shines there is and how it works better for me than it did in Odyssey, for example. Like that was
Oh
the
yeah,
part for me that works better because it's very clear what you're supposed to do most of the time. It's like, oh, here's a new challenge. You have to press
yeah.
the thing, go through the thing. It's not like going to New Dog City and talking to a guy for an hour. He keeps talking about he's lonely, and then by accident you land on the bench. You're like, oh, you can sit on benches in this game. That was me 50 hours in, by the way. It was by accident I found that mood, and
Same.
it was like it never felt gimmicky.
There's only the game is quite short because I got all of the cat shines,
Yeah, I haven't
and
done that
I
yet.
think yeah, I've got all of them, and I think I played it for 7 hours, not more than that. So the game is quite short.
Yeah,
It kind of feels like one of the Odyssey levels. But what's fun about it is that it's not just one big level, but it's like several different levels
yeah.
in this little open
And
world that
those
you
levels feel like
around.
3D world levels that you run
It
around
do,
in.
they do, yeah.
They
You
do
have a
feel like,
free camera,
yeah,
but they do feel more like 3D world levels than Odyssey levels.
yeah,
Uh, but what's fun about it is that there's only 100 cat shines, and all of them have like a specific challenge tied to them. So in the world, you'll find when you're riding the Loch Ness monster, Lessie or whatever he's called, um, you can find a circle in the world, and if you go through that circle, it starts like a race that you have to
yeah,
do. Like you have 20 seconds to get to this side, the other side of the map, using these new ramps that you have to jump through to get to the cat shine, and it's constantly rewarding everything that you do. Like anytime you see something new, or like, oh, that could be a challenge, you go there and there is a challenge and you're going to get a cat shine at the end. So it's constantly rewarding you for exploring and trying to do stuff. um and yeah, and all the levels are, to me, were really cool. I like the fact that once you enter a new island, there's a new piece of music that starts, because there's a general music that you have when you're kind of
mm,
just in the open world, but when you enter an island, the music for that island specifically begins. And yeah, I don't know. It was so much fun to go through this game, for me at least.
yeah. And that's how I felt. But I wanted to ask you as well, like, okay, so there's the Bowser Jr. element. How does it work
Mhm.
when you're playing single player?
Single player, you can either not use. You can choose, like in the settings, how much he'll help you, and I chose to have him not help. I just played the game as Mario the whole time, and it was basically like just a regular single player Mario.
Because
Because like, yeah, I don't really know how it works if you let him help you, and there are some moments where you have to send him over with his brush to look at a question mark,
yeah, and
and
he'll
it gives
like
you
paint
an
over
item
it.
or
Yeah,
whatever, and that you just do by pressing R, and a little one of those things that you use in Galaxy as well, like a little round thing appears on the screen, and you just point it in the direction, and you make him do it. But other than that, he isn't really much of a part of the game if you just play single player.
yeah. Because I played that with Joe as well. When with the free
Yeah,
camera, oh boy, this game isn't made for co-op. But
no,
she
it
was
doesn't feel.
no, but she didn't have an issue with it because she was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh no, I'll just fly around and help you then." And
Mm-hmm.
so she would just like fly around and beat Goombas and whatnot. And the thing is, like, he's invincible. Like, he can't die at all.
Yeah,
So it was like basically. So I was basically playing the game on super duper easy because I just had Joe flying in and hitting enemies, and she can grab like the cat shine shards, but not the cat shines. The cat shine, it
okay.
has to be Mario that grabs them. But the shards that you have to find, sometimes if there's a shard that was too difficult, she would just go up and be like, "Okay, I'll grab it for you then."
Yeah,
She can control the camera as well, but we quickly agreed that maybe I should control the camera
yeah,
since
because it would be a mess.
yeah, it would be a mess. But we did have fun. I could never recommend this as a co-op experience though, unless
No,
someone else will also have fun flying around uh, as
and
Bowser Jr.
yeah,
It's
it
not
feels
made for
like the
co-op.
person who's yeah, it feels like the person who's playing Bowser Jr. is kind of the same as the person who would play as Cappy in Odyssey's
Exactly, and
co-op
that's
mode,
how it is.
which
Exactly
is
like
kind
that.
of like, I don't know. It does feel like they had to put a co-op element to it just because 3D World had it, but this is really a single player game
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, unlike because 3D World is co-op, and that's
Yeah.
for me the fun way of playing the game as well. For me, at
Mhm.
least, I know some people are just
No, no,
like,
no.
no, I want to beat it 100%. Sorry, I got the
I think
hiccups again.
I think the co-op is the best way to play 3D World, but single player is probably. Well, I mean, if you have someone who was just wants to hang out, you can play this co-op, but it doesn't really add or take away from the
Oh,
game
yeah,
in
it
any way.
doesn't.
It's just kind of there. Yeah, an issue. I think an issue I've seen a lot of people have with the game is that it is pretty easy. Uh,
Bowser's
I
Fury
finished it.
specifically, or
Bowser's Fury.
yeah,
Yeah, Bowser's Fury. I finished it and I I don't know. I died 3 or 4 times throughout the whole game, and it wasn't really very challenging, especially because like the way upgrades work here, you kind of get so many of them, and you can retain them. You can get there's 5 different types, I think, and you can have 5 of each on you all the time, and you can pick and choose which ones to use, which make it fun in the world to just mess around and like, oh, I'm gonna need Fire Mario here, so I'm gonna pick the flower, or I'm gonna need Cat Mario here, so I'm gonna pick the bell. Um, but it does make the game pretty easy, at least for me. So I think a little bit more of a challenge, at least in like after you've beaten Bowser completely the first time, like finishing up the rest of the world, or at least or something like unlocking an extra, more challenging final level would be fun. But again, considering they just kind of gave us this game, in you know, if Nintendo were to just make a 3D World remaster, you would still be paying full price
yeah.
for it. So they just kind of put this 7-hour game on top of it, and I can't be too mad about it.
No, and I do agree. It is very easy, specifically also
It's
because
very,
of the upgrades, like how you can just quickly pop one in and you're like, oh, I'm at full health
yeah,
again.
yeah,
Kind of wish it was a bit more difficult sometimes, but at the end of the day, I had fun playing it, and that's the thing.
so
For
much fun.
for me, it's the exploration part that's fun, but I do get why some people might be turned off by it because they're
Mhm.
like, yeah, this is way too easy.
But again, this is the reason why I like this is the same as Odyssey, because I really enjoy the open space and just exploring at my pace and choosing which challenge to do and not do, and just kind of fuck around and be Mario running around this world for a bit. Because I think what's incredible about all Mario games is like they're kind of the definition of great game feel. Like
Mm,
just locomotion feels so good. Doing anything as Mario, moving around just feels so amazing
yeah.
that I think the more open structure allows you to just mess around with the mechanics a little bit more and just have fun walking around and doing little challenges and stuff. So I think that's the reason why I personally gravitate towards the more
Yeah.
open-ended Mario games.
And I feel like that's the same thing for me as well, that the more open-ended Mario games, because again, it feels good to play and it's
Yeah.
fun to explore. I think that's why I also gravitate towards more that rather than the
Mhm.
level-based ones where it is more of the challenge. It's still fun,
Yeah.
but
It's still
it's the exploration I feel
so
is
much
the
fun,
most is more
especially
fun.
with 3D World in the co-op mode. But yeah, the exploration for me personally, when I'm playing by myself, the exploration side is the most fun bit. Um, so yeah, I think that was our review for Bowser's Fury in 3D World, and we kind of gave a little eulogy to
Yeah.
our beloved, but unfortunately gone, lovely Mario.
I hope they put
Hopefully they
Mario
can.
in Smash, by the way. That could be cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Like if they resuscitate him and they put zombie Mario in Smash, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do that.
Okay. So as a final little thing, um, I just want to have your thoughts on what do you think the future holds for the Mario series. I know he's dead, but he'll have to come back eventually. It's like
I mean,
anime. No character is ever dead.
he is
It's
kind
like
of the
comic book.
Jesus of video games because Mario saved
He
video
is.
games. So,
Yeah,
and now he
he
died
did.
for his sins, and he's gonna come back.
Yeah,
It's
he has
Easter,
to.
so he's gonna rise soon, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Tomorrow, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah. Tomorrow
Yeah.
Mario's gonna rise again. No, for real. I think I think we're gonna see like a sequel to Odyssey, if I had to guess.
Hmm.
Because they have the mechanics, they have like the engine, they have everything. That seems to be like the most logical way of doing it. Because um, having a new Switch will make no sense to me in the right now, because the Switch is like
Hmm.
selling like hotcakes still.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised if they then like do a sequel to Odyssey, kind of like how they're doing a sequel to Breath of the Wild, of
Yeah.
just like reusing the mechanics and reusing the engine.
Yeah.
What is the thing here? Because it works. Like there's no reason to make something new, if you know what I mean. And by
I
new, I
feel
mean
like
like new.
yeah. And I feel like people are kind of clamoring for it because I think as soon as the game came out, everyone was saying, "Oh, we need DLC. Please give us few new worlds. Why didn't you give us a few new worlds?" And I think you're right. I think the reason might be that they were already starting work on a sequel. I think it's kind of interesting that we haven't heard any concrete rumors or haven't had an announcement about it because at this point it's been 3.5 years. Um, they've already announced the sequel to Breath of the Wild, which, at least in my mind, feels like it's a even larger game. So, like,
What?
I'm not sure if it takes more to develop a Mario game or a Zelda game, but because both require so much polish, because Nintendo only puts out these games specifically if they're absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But um, I don't know. I think if there is a Mario sequel in the works, I think we should be hearing about it relatively soon because it's been a while. Um, Especially as you said, if they're just doing Odyssey 2 and reusing the engine and stuff, so they're not like completely reinventing the game again. You know, like for example, Galaxy came out. I think Galaxy 2 came out only 2 years after Galaxy.
Yeah, it's
It wasn't.
been what? It
Yeah,
was 17 that
it was
Odyssey.
October 17. So yeah, it's been 3.5 years. It's been a
That's a
long
long
time.
time for with
Yeah,
no Mario game. Yeah,
yeah.
because I always just assumed that Odyssey was originally developed for the Wii U. If I had
We'll
to get
never know, I
like,
guess.
I'm just guessing. Like I always assumed that was originally developed there. Probably halfway through, they were like, "Yeah, we make a new console, so let's throw it
Yeah,
on the
let's
Switch."
pivot.
Let's pivot
Yeah,
because we know for sure Breath of the Wild was made with the Wii U in mind. It wasn't made with the Switch in mind. And then when they
yeah,
were like, yeah, because when you see like those early footage of Breath of the Wild, they always talk about how you can use the map on the Wii U gamepad and you can press here and then it marks it
yeah,
there, which is very cool. Except it's not in the full game because they
yeah.
pivoted towards the Switch by the end. Oh, I really
And
hope
also,
like
nobody wants to play on the Wii U.
sorry,
And also, I'm sorry, but nobody wants to play on the Wii U.
I played Breath of the Wild on
Like
Wii
this.
U first.
I know, but like, come on, the Switch is
Oh
such a
yeah,
great,
yeah.
great
Yeah,
console.
Switch way better. And also enjoyed
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild way more on Switch.
Mm.
But yeah, I really hope that's what they're going for. And if not, I actually want to see them do some more 2D Mario stuff actually,
Yeah.
like some new stuff because I really want to get into it.
That
So
as well. It's been so long since we had a mainline 2D Mario game
yeah, because
because,
last one
like,
was New Super
even
Mario Brothers.
New Super Mario Wii U,
Yeah,
which I think was
re-released on the Switch as well
yeah,
because
it was released on the Switch, but it's still it's quite a long time ago. It's
yeah,
it's it's weird that we haven't seen. I hope. Okay, here's what I hope with 2D. I think they've been doing the same game for too long, like since the new series with because like the jump from Super Mario Bros. One, then Super Mario 3, then Super Mario World, and then New Super Mario, all of those were very different. They had a different art style, a different kind of a different, similar structure, but not exactly the same. But with the new series has kind of been a bit samey all the way through. And I kind of hope that the next one has a new take. So like at least like change up the art style a
hmm,
little bit. I don't
yeah.
know if you agree with that.
I I agree. Yeah, you know what? I agree, and mostly because also with the Switch being
Mm.
right now being this Wii U port machine almost at this point, and there hasn't been like
Yeah,
something new. I really
For a
hope
while, yeah.
for a while at least, yeah. I really hope they do something that's like, oh, this is the Switch look of Mario. This
2D
is
Mario.
2D Mario. This is how 2D Mario will work on the Switch. That would be cool for me at least if they started focusing there. Because I don't want to play something like, I don't know, Mario Maker, for example. That's, I don't know.
It was. I've played that. It was fine.
I've
I don't
seen
know.
people. I've
I
seen
want
some of the
Nintendo to make my levels,
yeah.
not
I
some
want
randos.
that's the thing. Yeah, not some random that who are like sadists. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't really for me.
Yeah, like for me, it was like it just seemed scary. Honestly, that's why I never played Mario Maker, because I just looked at it, was like, yeah, this seems too hardcore for me. There are probably
Mario
some easy
Maker
levels, but
I think Mario Maker is more fun to watch than it is to play.
Hmm.
Like I have so much fun watching like crazy levels of Mario Maker from people who know how to actually play that game
Yeah.
properly, like
Yeah,
proper
same.
pro Mario players.
Yeah, same.
But I would never be able to get into it that much, so it wouldn't be worth it for me personally. So yeah, I think we did our Mario episode. Let us know what you thought, and I'm pretty sure that could be the end. What do you have anything else to say about Mario?
Not about Mario, but there's a mosquito on my second monitor, so that's why I keep looking to the side. I'm like, I wanna get rid of it. Okay, finish the show, because
Yeah.
Joe is gonna try and kill it now.
Cool. Kill it in the same way that Nintendo killed Mario. Rest in peace, our king. We love him. Hopefully he can come back as a zombie, as we said. So yeah, that was episode 3 of the I'm So Tired podcast. And please follow us on Twitter at IDBy and at Hugo_Pinay. You can find the podcast on YouTube on IDBy YouTube. We don't have a link yet, but it's his YouTube channel. It's the same name as the Twitch. If you want to watch us record live, he's swatting I'm doing the outro and I'm seeing him swat this mosquito or whatever. This is really distracting. I'm just seeing him just flail his arms around. Yeah, that's amazing. If you want to watch us record live, you can watch that at twitch.tv/iDubai. And the audio version of the podcast is out on all major podcast platforms. It's on Apple, on Google. Stop laughing. It's on Google. It's on Spotify. And you can find all the links at anchor.fm at / I'm so tired. You keep laughing. Bye, everyone. That's the end of the episode. Bye. Kill the recording.